All right, so today, due to the requests I've had of students and people who've asked me, we're going to talk just a little bit about how to wash a belly dance costume. Yes, that's right, we said wash. So I've got this beautiful costume here that I bought from another dancer, and while it doesn't have a ton of stains, it has a little bit of stains in the bra and on the belt. It's got a little bit of a used funky smell, which will happen sometimes. So I'm going to spot clean it with a little wool light or a delicate kind of care thing. So I've got my, I'm down in my basement right now, and this is my sink that I have, utility sink. And we're going to just go ahead and spot clean this a little bit. Okay, so I've got some mildly warm water and a little bit of woolite in my sink. As I mentioned today, I'm not going to do a full submersion of my costume. I'm just going to spot clean it. I'm going to take a soft washcloth. You can also use a sponge, something like that. And again, I mentioned I used delicate woolite. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my bra over by the water, and I'll have to do this separate because I don't have like a head cam or anything. I'm just doing it in person. But I'm going to get my washcloth wet with our stuff here. So I'll just talk a little bit about belly dance costumes while I do this. And again, just know that everything I'm talking about here is my observation. It may not be everyone else's. So these Egyptian costumes that come from Egypt, Turkey, what have you, are all one of a kind. They're handmade. This costume, for example, once I clean it a little bit, is actually going to go through a little bit of surgery where I'm going to elongate some straps, things like that. Finding a fabric match, finding a bead match is like a needle in a haystack. So having said that, I want you to know if you are an owner of belly dance costumes, I would strongly encourage you to treat them with a lot of love, respect, and care. Again, this is just my 2 cents. You got to do what's right for you, but I would strongly recommend wearing deodorant when you dance in them because it is very, very difficult to clean them. Something that people have taught me that even though I've been dancing and doing this for 20 plus years, I've never done, is they say doing a combination of water and vodka. You can spray it on the costume. I've known people who've done Febreze and whatnot. But sometimes, even when you do all of that, you do need a little wash on the baby. So this lady's just getting a little wipe down here. And I'm going to pause this in a minute because, like I said, it's difficult to wipe it down and film. But basically, I'm just going around the periphery of my cups, my bands, and I'll be doing also the top here where you can see maybe just a smidge of spray tan or soilage. And I'm just taking a very gentle hand to wipe this down. So do know if your costume is extra dirty, you can submerge it. And they say when you submerge it, because of all this gray beading and all this stuff, you've really got to be gentle. So you don't want to agitate it. You just want to soak it very gently. Know that you cannot put this puppy in the dryer by any means. I mean, I have before in a garment bag. A zippered garment bag will help, but with something with this chunky of beading on such light, delicate lycra fabric, I probably would not, because I guarantee if it goes in the dryer too much, it will damage it. So just know that's something to think about as we wipe it down. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe it down, and then I'll get right back to you here in 1 sec. Okay, so I went through and kind of sponge cleaned, if you will, the lining of this costume and the back of this bra. I did a little bit of work on the hem of the skirt where sometimes you get a bit of dirt from wear at the bottom. And so now we're ready to have the costume, just let it air dry. So yes, as I mentioned just a moment ago, I would not recommend, especially for an outfit like this that's got really heavy beading on top of very stretchy lycra. I would not recommend putting it in the dryer. I would recommend setting it out to dry. I like to lay it on a towel and keep it in kind of a well-ventilated area. So this one was not a full submersion. Also, too, I just want to mention, because students who are newer to costuming don't realize how these glorious items are kind of high maintenance. So even when you sponge wash it, You'll get some bead loss. That's very normal. You'll get bead loss pretty much after every performance. So it's always important to check your hooks, check for loose beading. I saw as I was cleaning a few beads needed to be retacked on. Again, that's normal. I would definitely recommend to sew it on if you can. Hot glue is the devil, in my opinion. It's just, it may save you time in the short run, but in the long run, your costume will look terrible. Again, just my opinion, take it with your 2 cents. So I tend to like a lot of vintage costumes. This is a gorgeous Queen Hanan, which I don't know if they make many of those anymore, but they were very popular 20 or so years ago, 20, 30 years ago. So with the vintage costumes, you do get a lot of really amazing beading, which I love, but they also require a little bit more work and love. So yeah, I wish you the best of luck. One last thing I'll say with storing, again, this particular Lycra costume, I'm a huge fan of putting my costumes when not in use and aired out in a plastic bin versus hanging. So with this one, yes, you might get a bit of wrinkling if it's stored in a bin, but I would strongly, strongly recommend any Lycra with beading costume to store it in a bin because, think about it, heavy, heavy beading, stretchy, stretchy Lycra. If you hang it for a long time on a hanger, it has the ability to stretch out. So I actually ruined a skirt that way that had really beautiful beading down at the bottom hem. Because I hung it, and over the course of several months, it grew like 7 inches. So yeah, I tried all that I could to save it and roll it up at the waist and all of this, but it ended up being too damaged. So, and that was just from hanging. So I definitely suggest whether you have a bedla or something like that, or if you have more of an Egyptian costume like this that is beading on a fabric, that when not in use, you store them in a bin. And I'll just show you real quick what kind of bins I get. Okay, to finish off, I just wanted to show you a few bins. I'm not going to show you my whole belly dance costume room because right now it's pretty disorganized, but just know the entire room is filled with about 50 different boxes of costumes. So you can get a little shoe bin. So you can find these at like a Joann Fabrics or your usual fabric store. Shoe bins are about a shoebox size. These are great for smaller people or maybe like a bedla, so the bra and belt set. So I like those, and I use those for some of my smaller costumes or costumes where you don't include a big skirt, anything like that. Just so you know, I do hang up my chiffon skirts. I know I just said don't hang them up, but it really depends on the type of fabric. So a chiffon skirt typically is okay to hang in your closet, but a Lycra skirt with lots of beading, maybe not so much. So next we're looking at a bigger bin. I just unlocked it. And so you can use a big bin to store bigger costumes, or like for this Bella, costumes that have a big skirt, lots of volume. You can get a bigger bin. So you just have to kind of look for these. So I don't know my sizing there, but it's like gallon, whatnot. I don't know if it says. I usually remove any kind of stickers that say the sizing, but I love bins. That's what I use. And then, as I mentioned, with skirts that are not Lycra or any thing like that, you can hang those without a lot of problems. Yes, so here's a few things that are hung. These are mostly, the only things I pretty much hang are, as I mentioned, skirts that don't have any kind of stretch. Typically chiffon skirts are okay as long as they don't have any kind of stretch to them. I like to hang silk veils, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't have everything included in this video. It's really about spot cleaning a costume, but please feel free to ask me. I'm happy to share what has worked for me for the past 25 or so years. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Let me know if you clean a costume.